तैयारियां जोरों पर है.
Okay, let's see if we can go across to Aishwarya Paliwal now. Aishwarya, by when is this meeting, with the subject expert committee going to end? Because we hear that emergency use approval is likely to be granted today itself.
Well, that is what we are also picking up, Shiv, at the moment. See, it will be very difficult to say by what time the meeting will get over, because please do understand this is a very crucial meeting which is going on. But yes, from the information which we have got just now is that the recommendation from the approval will definitely be given today, and this will be for emergency use. So now two things which are coming out are very clear. We are still waiting for an official statement to come out, but from what we understand, this very crucial SEC meeting is still going on, and the modalities, what all will be granted, the modalities at the moment, those are being finalized as we speak, Shiv.
Modalities are being finalized as we speak. That meeting is still very much on. It's likely to continue for a little longer until we get a categorical confirmation on this. It's an important time, Aishwarya, as well, because tomorrow the nationwide dry run is also set to take place. It's going to be extremely important for India to get it right ahead of the dry run. So things are going to be moving quite fast.
Things definitely will be moving quite fast, and we also saw, Shiv, how earlier in the 4 states also the dry run took place. Now what the government is focusing on is the way in which the transportation of the vaccines will take place, how will the distribution take place, where will the storage take place. All these things were being worked out even as the approvals were being awaited by Bharat Biotech, also by SII. So definitely all these things are in the pipeline. From what we understand, states also very shortly from now will be given a mandate. They will be told how to make sure those people who are in the priority list, they are the ones who get the vaccination first, because that, according to many experts, is a big challenge in front of our country. Given the density, given our population, that is something which both the state government as well as the central government will now very keenly have to look at. But yes, Shiv, even as we speak, the very crucial meeting is still on. The modalities of how to grant the license.
Aishwarya, we've got the breaking news coming in that the Serum Institute of India has just received emergency use approval. So we can break that story for our viewers first here on India Today. Emergency use approval has been granted for Covishield. The modalities are currently being worked out. This is very, very important. So emergency use approval for Covishield, which was manufactured in India by the Serum Institute of India in Pune, has just been granted by India's Drug Administration. This is the first such emergency use approval that India has provided. I want to bring in Dr. Swapnil Parikh. He is author of the coronavirus. He's a well-known physician based in Mumbai who's been tracking all the COVID vaccine-related developments. Dr. Parikh, first of all, Happy New Year. Good news about emergency use approval, long anticipated, has finally been granted. Big milestone in India's vaccine program.
Hi, Shiv. Thank you so much for having me on. Happy New Year. I'm a little emotional right now. It's just been over a year since we first learned about an outbreak in Wuhan. And today, India has a safe and effective vaccine for COVID-19. It's been difficult times for all of us in India. Of course, there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. But this is such an important first step at such an inflection point in India's course with the pandemic. Much needed and really great news.
Really, really great news. With the emergency use approval, if you could just tell us, because a lot of our viewers, obviously, because this is something that affects everyone's life, everyone's been waiting for some positive news as far as the vaccine is concerned. Could you tell us what emergency use approval actually means, Dr. Parikh? Because most people will be wondering, does this mean anyone can go out and get it? Or is it going to be a phased kind of rollout now?
Shiv, an emergency use authorization is exactly that certain processes are done faster to meet a critical health need or a public health emergency, like a pandemic. This unfortunately does not mean that anyone can go out and get the vaccine yet. In the initial phase, high risk for exposure and high risk for adverse outcomes, individuals need to be prioritized. So medical workers who are exposed to COVID-19 patients, individuals with many comorbidities who are elderly, who are at high risk for poor outcomes need to be prioritized. And once we have that population vaccinated, then we can expect that the mortalities will come down a lot. That is our hope right now with this rollout strategy.
And Dr. Pareikh, also, you know, we've got the big national dry run is going to be taking place starting tomorrow, where all states in the country will be testing the the vaccine rollout plan, the logistics, etc. In view of that happening tomorrow, how important is it that things have been moving quite quickly on the approval front as well?
You know, Shiv, must give credit where it's due. This has been a difficult public health campaign to organize, but looks like it's going well. I read Dr. Paul's comments that we're going to have 29,000 vaccination sites up and running. Each will do about 100 vaccinations a day. So, you know, that's going to give us the much needed starting point in our vaccination journey. Of course, we're going to have to do millions of vaccinations every day, but the first step to that is having a vaccine. And that's what we have today, a safe and effective vaccine.
Very, very important. I also want to bring in Dr. Sanjeev Bagai of the Nephron Clinic is also with us. We're going to get in as many experts as we can on this big milestone story. Dr. Bagai, good news, breaking news on the emergency use approval for the Oxford vaccine, the Covishield, that's manufactured in India by the Serum Institute.
I think this is fantastic news. It's a great joyous occasion for all the international researchers and scientists who worked diligently for the better part of last full year. And now this is the first time we can actually take a pot shot back at this deadly virus. These vaccines which have been under review as far as the Indian environment is concerned are distinctly very safe. There should be no distrust or no misinformation in the general public's mind. Individually, most of the doctors would be very happy to take the vaccine as to set a case example. This vaccine is cost effective.
Yes.
It can be stored at normal refrigeration temperature. It's shown to be very good in terms of protection, more than 60%. So we are on roll really. And we are looking at probably another day or so before the controller gives its nod. That will be the last stage. We know that the vaccines are packed and ready to go from the Serum Institute. So this is fantastic news. I think this is really good news.
This is really good news. It's it's going to make a lot of people emotional. Dr. Parikh, Rahul Kaval, India Today's news director, visited the Serum Institute of India a few days ago. We've got all those images on air. 50 million, 50 million sets of the vaccine are already ready to roll out. How fast is this entire thing going to be, Dr. Parikh, in your view?
I think we absolutely need to go very fast. So based on the plans that have been laid out, I think we're looking at doing about 2 million vaccinations per day. If my math is correct, 29,000 centers and 100 vaccinations at each site. That's exactly the speed we need, maybe a little faster than that. The number of people with comorbidities and healthcare workers in India that we have to vaccinate, we have to be very clear. India has never attempted an adult vaccination campaign of this nature. We have some experience with the Pulse Polio program, the Universal Immunization program, but that's mainly for children. This is going to be a monumental undertaking, especially with some uncertainty about when the second dose has to be given at 4 weeks or 12 weeks. So we have a long and hard journey ahead of us. In fact, I would almost say the easy work has been done so far.
Yeah.
The hard part starts now.
Dr. Bagai, what kind of challenges do you foresee now? You know, this is just the first, the first good news we're getting. Hopefully things will be smooth, but this is going to be an extremely complicated exercise. How do you foresee it's going to go, Dr. Bagai?
So this will be the largest rollout of an immunization program in any part of the world, very clearly. And I think India has perhaps the largest track record and experience and versatility for this in the past. I think if we can manage children, which are a much more difficult lot to manage and vaccinate, adults would not be that difficult, although it is different, but not that difficult. Having said that, the challenges which we need to, I'm sure they've been safeguarded against, but the challenges which we will face, one is manpower. We need that number of vaccinators to give that many number of vaccines in different locations in India, because the quicker we reach the herd immunity, better it is for us. Point number two will be the local logistics of transport, freight, cargo, waste disposal. No one is talking of waste disposal. We will be producing a huge amount of plastic disposal with syringes and needles.
Yes.
So I think we need to cater to that. And monitoring the patient during vaccination and post-vaccination. Monitoring not only from side effects and safety protocols point of view, but monitoring also from a surveillance point of view to make sure how long the immunity of this vaccine will last for the individuals. But whatever big challenge it may be, I think India is one country. If at all there is any country in the world, India is the country which can face up to it.
This is incredible news, and I'm gonna play out a chunk for you from our visit to the Serum Institute of India in just a moment from now. But the Covishield is, as you know, it's the Oxford University AstraZeneca vaccine. Very important part of the trials has been taking place here in India via the Serum Institute of India, which is manufacturing the vaccine in Pune. In fact, the images you see on your screen are from the manufacturer of Covishield in Pune. 50 million sets of this vaccine, doses of the vaccine have already been manufactured. They're ready for rollout. So this is going to be an elaborate and big rollout. And like Dr. Pareikh said, this is the first. The easy part is the approval. It is the rollout that is going to bring all of the challenges. Tomorrow is the big dry run for the vaccine program in India, where all states of the country have been asked to conduct a full dry run of all the logistical moving parts that kick into play when the vaccine is actually administered. So from vehicles to cold storage to the entire supply chain to all the bureaucratic layers that get involved in this particular rollout, all of that is going to come into action tomorrow. The only thing that will be missing is the actual vaccine. But now, with emergency use approval being granted as well, things are going to be moving very, very fast. Dr. Pareikh, with emergency use approval being granted and this rollout happening tomorrow, by when do you think the actual process will kick into action, Dr. Pareikh? The first vaccinations.
I'm hopeful very, very soon. Between the first and third week of January, I'm sure we're going to start seeing a lot of Indian healthcare workers get vaccinated.
Dr. Bagai, first to the third week of January, says Dr. Pareikh, is when things will kick into action. And once it begins, then there's no stopping. Then it will continue and expand.
Yeah, I think we are sitting on the first. None of us have a crystal ball. We are sitting on 1st of January. I would probably say anywhere between 10th and 12th of January, we would actually start the first set of vaccines. Another 10 days from now.
Okay, another 10 days from now is when the rollout's going to happen. With the emergency use approval, Dr. Pareikh, the Serum Institute of India has already manufactured, 50 million doses which are ready to roll out now. What happens now? What does the Serum Institute of India now need to do with this emergency approval? Do they need to scale up their manufacture, or they've already prepared for that? I'm just asking so that our viewers can understand how it works.
They absolutely need to scale up manufacturing. I believe presently they have the capacity to manufacture 50 million doses per month.
Yeah.
Very soon they're going to increase that to 100 million doses per month. The good news is that the Serum Institute is also working on another vaccine, a protein-based vaccine called Novavax, which again they will have tremendous manufacturing capacity for. So there are going to be quite a few vaccines available in the 100 million plus dose range for India. But absolutely, with the Oxford vaccine that they're manufacturing, they need to scale up production. They need to get to 100 million or more doses per month. And remember, not all of these doses are for India. India is the vaccine manufacturer for the world. We have to send some to the WHO, some to our friends in Africa. So we have to supply vaccines to much of the world. They desperately need to scale up production.
Okay, stay with me, Dr. Parikh and Dr. Bagai. We have Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, Chief of Biocon, with us on the phone line. Ms. Shaw, thank you for speaking to India today. Your reactions, your views on this good news, ma'am, on the emergency use approval being granted to COVID.
this is a great way to start the new year, and I do believe that this will help us to deploy the vaccines very urgently. And I think the